Hi everyone, my name is Isabel Hunt. I am a sociologist, an inspirational speaker, as well as a published author of the book The Power of Faith-Driven Success, which means trust-driven, trust-based, intuition-based success. And I am also a certified transformation coach working mostly with empath warriors. And my main topic that I speak about and teach about is emotional awareness. So today I want to talk with you about a specific topic that was a question from the group, from my group, World Visionaries United, or a post. I was going to do it live in the group, however, for some reason the camera that is attached to Facebook Live doesn't work, so it wouldn't let me change the settings either. I don't know. It's kind of odd, so I need to check my camera, what's going on with that. Anyways, so the question was, or the comment was that someone posted that they are an empath as well, and they wanted to know how other people judge certain situations. Where the person was saying further down in the comments that it almost feels like a curse to them, because they seem to always be right. They seem to always know what situations are ahead, or when people get hurt. And so sometimes they even consciously choose to try to offend people by being called you're judgy, you're judgmental. I'm not exactly sure. That seems to be more personal to me. But how we judge situations and circumstances. Okay, so for one, empaths are not called to judge. I know he means how are we dealing with certain situations that we can see, things that we may know. Something that I have noticed over the last 10 years of doing this work intensely, and I've done it way longer than that, really, in studying and understanding of what's really going on. As I've already mentioned many times in many videos before, is that empathic work is spiritual work. And I think that's where a lot of empaths get hung up, because they don't really take too much part in the spiritual side of the work. And when I talk about spiritual, it's not religious, it really is spiritual. It is that the knowing that there is a higher power, that there is a divine that resides within all of us, and that from this power we our ego has separated ourselves from knowing the oneness with the divine. And so now we're all on a similar soul's journey, or on a soul's journey toward recognizing that oneness, fully recognizing and living that oneness with the divine. So that's what I talk about when I talk about spirituality, just to have this up front. So back to the question. Because empaths feel a lot, and we often get that confirmation from outside, like, okay, so for example, we have a situation, we are sitting down with a friend who just met a really great guy, and she's all excited about this guy, and we just get this really intense gut feeling that there's something not right with him. And so maybe we tell them, hey, maybe you should think about that, or maybe it's not right. But instead they just get angry at you and like, well, no, I finally found a nice guy, now you're just jealous, blah, blah, blah. Moving down a few weeks, well, it turned out as you said it would. And so now you feel like, okay, I told you so. So why do we feel this to be a curse when it is actually a very powerful gift? It is a curse when we are attached to how people will take those information and what they will do with it. The thing is, with a lot of empaths who are in the process of going really deep and understanding who they are, and the awareness about themselves, not just being an empath, but about themselves, what they are all carrying with them, is that we often tend to come across judgmental by the way we say it. Because I'm an empath, I know things that you do not know, so therefore you need to listen to me. That is not the right approach when it comes to being an empath. We are called to be observers in the first place. And I think understanding our gift and seeing it less as a curse, but more so as an empowerment, is to understand that we're not always called to tell people what we see or what we believe is to be true. Because we're not here to take other people's experience of life. A lot of people choose to engage in, if it's choosing the wrong partner, if it's participating in a group that you know will end up badly or will have consequences, is a choice that they have made subconsciously or consciously, yet it is still part of their journey. So there's something within that situation that they have to learn to move forward on their soul's journey toward oneness or the realization of oneness with God. If we try to take that experience away from them, they will never fully learn the lesson that they're called to. And that is something to know, that it is not our responsibility to rescue people, but our responsibility is, because of our gift, of our highly sensitivity, is to help people understand that there's more than just the current situation, to walk with them. It's like, hey, I see you're hurting. How may I support you? How may I support you in this time? Like, even, for example, even if you do know that this guy wasn't the right fit for your friend, or maybe you had a weird feeling about him, it's not on us to judge them for making that for choosing that situation for themselves. Instead, when it comes down to the point where they do realize you may have been right about it, to say, hey, I'm sorry you're experiencing this. How may I support you? It's almost like you're preparing yourself by seeing ahead, or by getting specific gut feelings. It's like you're preparing yourself in how you may be able to support people on their journey. Not to have them avoid the hardships, or to avoid and not experience the situations that they may have to experience. This is not our task. And it is just not why we're here. That's just not why we're here, right? So, being the observer takes a lot of internal awareness about ourselves. Why do we get triggered? Why do we feel a certain way? Why do we feel drawn to specific situations or specific people in particular? Like, if you see a common threat in your life with people that come into your life that have similar challenges, then that is a reflection back to you, actually. Like, hey, why is this showing up? Where is something that needs to be healed within myself? Anything that we experience as a curse is actually an indication of lack of awareness about our own stories and why we experience it that way. Our own beliefs, our own suppressed emotional trauma, epigenetics, meaning generational inherited trauma, all those things, because we are so in tune and we do know those kind of things, we are able to heal them so that they're not being moved past down other generations, or the next generation, next generation. It is not on us to judge the situation, it is on us to observe and to accept and to just be with people without the judgment or the attachment how people will receive our help. Something that I keep telling, and something that I had to learn myself over and over and over, because when I started this journey, I was like, but I know all these things. Why do people not believe me? I've already said that so many times, and it really angered me to the point that I got very, very frustrated. Why people don't listen to me. Again, maybe because they can't hear me the way I say things. Maybe I overstep boundaries and not even asking if they would like to hear my reflection or if they would like to hear what I have to say. Asking for permission to share what you feel and what comes up for you is very, very important in relationships with other people, especially as an empath. And again, some people are not supposed to hear you because they're supposed to learn that specific situation, a lesson within that specific situation. So when I started out with it and I got really, really angry, I realized further down the road, starting to work with my own coaches, I'm like, wait, what's going on? Why am I always so frustrated? Because I do know those things and I know I'm sometimes right. Well, the thing is, we have to notice and sometimes we have to just acknowledge, what if I'm not right? What if what I experience currently is a trigger from my own personal stories? Something that is relating to me, but not necessarily to the other person. Just because we have a higher level of, or higher level of sense engagement, our senses are more engaged in our environment, doesn't mean we're always right. We are still only human. That means that our reflections are still driven by our own experience of life. And that's something we need to know, because if we start to believe that we're always right, we tend to set ourselves into a superior situation and a superior place where we also start to feel resentment toward other people. You're not following me, you're not listening to me, you're not understanding what I have to say. Those kind of things is a warning sign. It's a warning sign that we are not doing our own internal work. Like I said, I've experienced it many, many times over with myself because I did get very frustrated. But just knowing that, for one, I don't always have to be right. And if I do have this gut feeling, what am I supposed to do with this? Am I just supposed to be there? Because a lot of times, even if we know something about the other person might just start to feel internally threatened, like, oh, I can't really hide anything, or this person knows something, and they may just withdraw by themselves without doing any harm. It is the subtle knowing that people will respond to, that people will feel uncomfortable with, and so often we don't even have to say anything. It's almost like very empowering, because even in that moment when you know something might happen or some person will turn out this way or there's just something off of them, we still have the responsibility to send love and light to that situation or to the person. And something for example, when I can sense situations, like especially as a world visionary, I see things like if worldwide, globally. So what happens here, I can see how it impacts this. Is for me I started to just literally have this very simple prayer. Let it all unfold within the highest good of all. Because no matter what we do, it's not on us to necessarily change things. It is on us to be with that. And if sometimes we get this call, I'm like, hey, say something to this person, or say it now, say it fast, because this is maybe not the lesson they're supposed to learn right now. If we really feel guided to say something, then we need to say something without the attachment, how we think people are supposed to respond to what we have to say. They have their own responsibility and their own power to choose. And they may not choose as we think they should. And that's the power of acceptance. And it's not always pretty because we all like to be right, but it's the power of acceptance. So even if you're claircognizance or clairvoyance, it doesn't mean what kind of gift you have. Like I said, our main calling is to connect and to be and to observe and not to judge. Because everyone is on their own journey, and whatever they choose to go through, even if it's an illness, even if it's an accident, there's a lesson within that for them to learn to move forward on their soul's journey. Of course, like I said, if you hear, like, hey, say something quickly, or let them know what you feel, if you really feel that in your gut to serve a greater good, then please do so, without the attachment to how the other person is supposed to receive your information and to respond for that. If you're detached from all of that and you can just simply be, and you really can understand your own triggers, why am I so triggered by this? Why do I experience it as a curse? You become, or you will be much more at peace in the way you experience the world, and you can just be more in the moment instead of always fearing that next moment that you may know something that other people may not know. I hope that helped in understanding how we judge different situation, or how we can be with certain situations when it comes to our empathic gifts. Again, they are not curses. The curse is about how you respond to that gift and how you choose to use it. That's very important. Okay, so that is my experience from 10 plus years of doing this work. I know there's a lot of information out there, but I think a lot of information that is out there is missing the awareness point about ourselves, creating that really deep level of awareness, emotional, spiritual, mental awareness, and doing the healing work for ourselves, not just for everyone else, right? Because that's our path. So with that said, have an amazing, amazing day. I hope this helped. If anyone has any questions, please comment. Any feedback. If I say that empaths don't always have to be right, that doesn't mean that I always have to be right either. So I'm more than open for feedback and what other people experience. But that really has shown to be true for my own clients. Hundreds of them over the last 10 years, as well as for myself. So I think it's something that we need to reflect on. Where are we at in our own journey that we experience the world the way we do? Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.